Welcome back, everybody, and thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. I can't believe I didn't even mention this in my last video, but I was actually on the wait list. I did the whole set an alarm on my phone to make sure I register in time for the tournament, and when the alarm went off, I was in the middle of something, I had my hands full, and I didn't think about it until a few days later. And lo and behold, there were 23 other people on the wait list, so I was number 24. Over the course of the last few months, I moved up a little by little, and coming into the day before the tournament, I was waitlist number 2. So it was myself and Mason Ford in front of me. I treated it like a normal week, and which is probably why I forgot to say anything about it in my last video, because it felt like a normal week for me. I practiced the course just like I normally would. I showed up the morning of round 1 of the tournament, just hoping that somebody wouldn't show up and that I would be able to talk to the TD and work my way in off the wait list. Turns out there was one player who didn't show, but Mason, who I love Mason Ford, by the way, he's a friend of mine, awesome dude. He actually got in. One of the players called in that morning letting the TD know that he was injured and he wasn't going to be playing, and so then Mason got his spot. So then I moved to number 1 on the wait list, so there was kind of hope, but you guessed it, I did not get in. So then I was a spectator for the week, which honestly I ended up really enjoying. Of course, it was disappointing to miss out on Masters Cup, one of the coolest, most iconic, most awesome events of the year, and it's always unfortunate to miss out on a week of work. But honestly, I really ended up enjoying taking in that weekend, that tournament, as a spectator and just seeing things from a whole different angle. It's been quite a while since I've done that. I think it was good for me, and I just liked it. I love being a fan of disc golf. I don't know. It was just nice to take a week off from my role as a competitor for 1 week and just enjoy it from a different point of view. Of course, someone in my shoes is always going to have a lot of those kinds of feelings of, oh, I might have played really well, or oh, wondering if I would have birdied this or that hole, or, you know. So I couldn't help but wonder how I would have done this past weekend, and so missed out in that way. But all in all, it was an awesome week. It was actually my wife and my 1-year wedding anniversary, and so we just spent the week celebrating our awesome marriage. And of all the places to get stranded and be forced to go on vacation for a week, Santa Cruz is not the worst place. I'll just say that much. We actually had an awesome opportunity to take some surfing lessons. I actually got a couple clips from that. So I'm not sure what all I'll be able to show you from my week in Santa Cruz. I didn't really film much, but we'll see if I have got something in there for you.
You ready for this?
Shred the gnar, bro. Colorado surf team.
Colorado surf team. That's awesome.
today I already got a little bit of putting in. I'm going to be doing more of that as the day goes on. And then I'm also going to focus on some field work. So I just wanted to bring you guys along with me and just show you a little bit of what it looks like when I'm out in the field. And hopefully I'll show you guys something you haven't seen before. Hopefully you guys will learn something. For the sake of the best audio that I can possibly give you guys, I'm probably going to just show you some shots and then talk over it like I've done in a couple of videos in the past. So here we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed joining me in the field. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for following along. Thank you for being here. Let's do this. All right, so the first thing I want to touch on here is the importance of a proper warm-up leading into field work. It always confuses me that I see all these guys doing a great job of doing a proper warm-up leading into a tournament round or a competitive round, but then when it's a practice scenario, I don't see people doing that. So that is crucial heading into fieldwork, especially because I'm just going to be throwing one shot after another here, putting my body through a lot of stress. This first drill, I'm focusing on gap hitting. I'm mostly concerned with the left to right. I just want it to go right down the center. There's not too much focus on the low to high center, but I'm generally just aiming for the center of this gap here. And then as a bonus, I'm trying to get my disc to finish in a straight line with that other farther goal post. That's kind of a lower priority as well. But as I'm throwing this series of shots, I'm trying to take little mental notes and make small adjustments in between each one. When a couple shots go well, what am I doing right with my body? When a shot goes really wrong, I'm trying to stay conscious of what mistakes I might have made, and just trying to do a little bit better each time as I go. Now, as I mentioned, here I'm focusing on gap hitting, but since all of my discs are different stabilities, it's also teaching me how to throw on different angles. It's teaching me about the flight of each of my discs, and so I'm getting to know my body better, getting to know my discs better. A lot of good learning is going to take place just naturally as you're doing fieldwork, regardless of what kind of drill you're doing. Now we're going to move on to the next drill. I'm going to do 3 today. This is me just practicing throwing high forehands. This has always felt like such an awkward motion for my body. It's not a shot that I need to use all that often, but I just want to get my muscles and my body comfortable with this shot. I've needed it every once in a while, and I've let myself down whenever I try to go to this like high spike forehand. Again, not something I'll use that often, but just trying to kind of get comfortable with the mechanics of this throw. So I'm going to throw it, I don't know, 20 times or so, and just try to figure out how to stay balanced as I'm throwing this shot. Again, during this succession of shots, I'm trying to just spike each disc down right in the center of both goal posts. As I'm throwing these last few, I just want to mention one of my other favorite drills to do in the field is to take each disc in your bag and one by one throw them on an angle to where it'll cause your disc to stay on an anhyzer and then go onto a hyzer for the same period of time. So your disc flies on an anhyzer angle for the same amount of time that it then flies on a hyzer. Hopefully that makes sense, but that teaches you a lot about angle control, about releasing on different angles, and it teaches you a lot about your discs. You'll get to know your discs really well, which is so valuable when you're under pressure in competition and all that. So those were my first 2 drills. This last drill, I'm going to do some backhand and some forehand. What I'm focusing on here is throwing low. So I'm trying to keep my shots as close to the ground as possible while still giving them plenty of life. So really, this has a ton to do with just keeping the nose down, and so that late in the flight, your disc isn't getting that natural lift that discs naturally like to do when you throw them flat. Throwing low ceiling shots is just a generally really good thing to know how to do and to do well. It just comes in handy a ton. Knowing how to control that nose angle is just crucial in every situation. So here I am trying to keep these shots low to the ground as best I can. And like I said, I'm going to do a bunch of backhands and then I'm going to throw them all back forehand. Yeah, I really didn't like that one. And so I'm trying to take some notes, trying to take a deep breath and focus on what my body's doing. During this process, throwing these low ceiling shots, I noticed is really helpful when I'm throwing a backhand and trying to keep that nose down to focus on staying balanced. I realized I was excelling a lot more when I was just focusing on keeping my feet under me, making sure I feel controlled and stable and balanced. All right, now on the forehand side, here I am trying to throw some low forehands, and this is something that I just do not naturally do. I feel like I naturally keep them pretty high. So honestly, watching myself here, I feel like I'm not doing a great job, but of course, like I mentioned earlier, trying to make little adjustments each time. For forehands, I found that it helped me to focus on really spinning the disc, keep the spin on the forehand. That allows forehands to fly right. And if I'm being honest, I don't have the biggest arm as far as forehand goes. So my forehand works because of the spin factor more so than the speed factor. I tried to pack in as much information and as much commentary in there, hoping that it will be helpful. Some of my comments, maybe they help you guys to see something different or think about fieldwork in a different way. Definitely feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you guys enjoyed joining me in the field. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys next time.